What's up, you guys? My name is Justin. Welcome to my channel, 502 Fragrance Reviews. 5 types of fragrances that every guy should own. You know, in my time at being in retail, being in the fragrance department at a department store, I would get a question a whole bunch from guys saying how many fragrances should I own. This is a question right here that doesn't really apply to people that's in the fragrance community. We love to collect a bunch of fragrances, but not everybody wants to have a bunch of fragrances. Some people want to take a more minimalistic approach. Some guys only just want one fragrance, right? Something like a Bleu de Chanel. Bleu de Chanel, this is a Mr. Versatile fragrance. This does everything. It covers every season, every occasion. Some guys are just fine with having one fragrance. But even though having one fragrance is cool, I think that it's best to have several different fragrances that cover different types of aspects of your life, and that's something I'm going to cover with you guys today. The same discussion that I had with customers being in my time in retail, telling them how many fragrances I think a guy should own, I'm going to cover with you guys today. This is going to be more so focused on beginners that's just now getting into fragrances, or someone that wants a more minimalistic approach. So without further ado, let's get into the 5 types of fragrances that I think a guy, or women too, but most of my viewers are guys, fragrances a guy should own. With each example, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to have 2 fragrances to show you, one designer and one niche. The first fragrance I want to talk to you guys about will be called the Daytime fragrance. This is a fragrance right here where you just wear it every day to day. Doesn't matter what the season is, whether it's warm or hot. This type of fragrance right here is generally going to be more fresher, at least in my opinion. You can say aromatic as well. And it's when you just go, whether you're going to run errands or whether you're just in the house, just more so just in the daytime. That's a fragrance right there that I think a guy should have. And a few examples to give you. On the designer side, I have Dunhill's Century. This fragrance right here, this fragrance is very clean. It's very clean, almost like fresh laundry type smell. And I know to like maybe a more fragrance enthusiast, that's a boring type of scent because it's not super creative, but a fragrance like this will always work. No matter how far we go into the future, this fragrance right here will always work. It's got neroli, sandalwood, some of the main notes in here. It got some incense as well, but it's very fresh and laundry clean. That's the best way to put it. Or if you go something like Imaginary Author's Telegramma, which is a niche fragrance, an indie niche fragrance, and this right here smells fresh as well, fresh and clean, fresh laundry once again, like smell. This has notes like fresh linens, lavender, talc. It's a fragrance right here that's another nice, fresh and clean smell. And even though, in my opinion, this type of fragrance right here isn't the most exciting, I'll be honest with you, it's not. A fragrance like this, to me, is needed in a guy's collection, especially if you go with a more minimalistic approach. And that would be an everyday fragrance, something that typically is more fresher. That would be the first fragrance I think a guy should have. The next fragrance I want to talk to you guys about, I have to kind of talk about this in detail. This to me is going to be one of my more detailed videos. I put a lot of thought into this video. The next fragrance I want to talk to you guys about will be your night out fragrance. Now, hear me out here. Typically when it comes to nights out, and even put clubbing in there as well, your more older guys, they won't be going out to the bars and clubs. I get that. That's more of a younger guy thing. However, older guys, you probably still have situations where you're going nights out with your friends, like whoever. No matter what, whether you're young or old, there's going to be situations where you have a night out scenario. Whether you're going to the bars or clubs if you're a younger guy, or if you're going to the bar clubs if you're an older guy too, but still something involving a night situation, you have to have this type of fragrance in your collection. To me, something like the everyday fragrance is something that's more fresher. To me personally, it doesn't fit a night out type of fragrance. With a night out fragrance, I think something more stronger, more projecting, more longer lasting, has a little bit of a sweetness to it. This is the fragrance right here that I think that a guy should have. And the 2 fragrances I want to show you guys, one on the designer side, of course, it's a very popular night out fragrance, especially more so for clubbing and bars, but just night outs in general, it's great, is Jean Paul Gaultier's Ultra Male. And on that's the niche side, I want to show you a fragrance that I think is really good for nights out that not other YouTubers are talking about. This comes down to Montal. This is Montal's Oud Amazing. These 2 fragrances right here are very, very strong, but in a good way though. When used in the right situations, these 2 fragrances right here are unbeatable, man. Excellent performance, great projection, great sillage, These fragrances right here in a night out situation, typically you're gonna wear a fragrance that's gonna more so get you noticed. Whether you're in a relationship or not, I'm just saying, typically you want your fragrances to stand out more in a night out situation, regardless if you're younger or regardless if you're older. These fragrances right here suit more technically, if you want to be technical, to the younger crowd, but anybody any age can wear any fragrance. This is a fragrance right here that I do think that every guy, whether young or old, should have, and that is a night out fragrance. The next type of fragrance I want to talk to you guys about, once again, these are all must-haves to me, these 5 types of fragrances. The next one I want to recommend to you guys is a must, man. It's a date night fragrance. It doesn't matter if you're single now or not. At some point, you're going to be going on dates. If you're already in a relationship, you better have a date night fragrance on hand. Now, once again, when it comes to date night fragrances, of course, your date night fragrance could vary from another person's because, for example, you could have a girlfriend that likes, or wife that likes something that's more sweeter, more like sexier, more darker for date nights. But somebody else could have a girlfriend or wife that likes something that's only fresh. They only prefer fresher stuff. So your fragrances may vary depending on, you know, who you're with, if you're in a relationship. But regardless though, I typically go for something that's more sweeter, more richer, more oriental in a way, more sexy, like it speaks more sexy to me. Referring back to the other fragrance, the everyday fragrance to me, which you do need to have, is great for, you know, daytime stuff. But when it comes to nighttime, even going in date nights, this to me is something that I wouldn't go with personally. Just my opinion. I would go something more on the lines of something like this, right? This is Dolce & Gabbana, the one. Everyone in the fragrance community knows this. This is a warm, sweet, rich tobacco fragrance, but it's very sexy. It's one of the best date night fragrances still to this day. Still, and it's probably forever gonna be like that. When it comes to date night fragrances, you don't have to have monstrous performance from a date night fragrance like the night out, because it's just a date night and you're only wearing it for that person that you're with anyway. On the niche side, I went with Parfums de Marley's Harriet. This fragrance right here is it's a tobacco fragrance just like this, but this is very sexy as well, where this relies more so on tobacco and amber. This relies more so on tobacco, vanilla, cinnamon. Really, really sexy. It's one of Parfums de Marley's more popular fragrances, and for good reason. These 2 fragrances right here, I think, are really nice for date night. You could throw in gourmands if you want to. You could kind of argue this could be a gourmand, but you don't have to go super sweet if you don't want to. But a fragrance that's got a nice amount of sweetness to it would be nice. But it's a fragrance right here, a fragrance type that every guy has to have no matter what. That's a date night fragrance. The next fragrance type I want to talk about that I think every guy should have, this one, another one that's very important. I mean, all these are important, I keep saying it. This is a formal or special occasion fragrance. This fragrance right here will probably, I guarantee, will be your least worn fragrance in your collection. But that doesn't mean that it's not worthy to be in your collection. It's called formal special occasion for a reason. You're not dressed up. Most of the time, people isn't dressed up every single day. Their lifestyle doesn't dictate that, or special occasions like that. You know, think weddings, galas, stuff like that. Something that's like super special, where typically you are dressed very nice. You want to have a fragrance that's going to fit that type of occasion. Okay, something, once again, keep on referring back. You don't want. Let's go with this, right? You don't want to wear a night out fragrance or like a really potent night out fragrance for a formal special occasion. It doesn't fit. Typically, your more night out fragrances, they suit more in the casual direction. It's really fun, you know, stuff like that. Really projecting. Not to say that formal fragrances can be projecting too. You can go projecting or more skin scent, but this is a fragrance right here that suits more for dress nice. It's more serious. You want to have this type of fragrance in your collection. A few that I want to show you. One on the designer side comes from House of Tom Ford, and this is Tom Ford's Beau de Jour. Now, typically when you go more formal special occasion type fragrances, you're going to have a more mature vibe to the smell, at least in my opinion. So younger guys that wants to have a more formal special occasion fragrance, you have to keep in mind that the fragrance is not going to always be super youthful. You want a mature edge to the fragrance. This is an aromatic fougere barbershop style fragrance with a modern twist. This smells amazing, very well known now in the fragrance community, but more so maybe average consumers may smell this like, oh, this smells like this. I don't like this. It smells like my dad. No, that's just people not being experienced with fragrances that well. This is a fragrance right here that would excel heavily in a formal special occasion. And once you come across fragrances that smell like this, you will get what I'm saying. You're like, oh, I get it. This is a fragrance right here that I wouldn't wear every day because it wouldn't fit. I get what he's saying. It's more so suits when I'm dressed real nice. Another fragrance right here, this is a designer too, but I'm gonna classify it as, forget it. Another fragrance right here that I think is really good is from House of Dior, and this is a Dior Homme Parfum. Now, this fragrance is so good. But once again, like the Tom Ford's Beau de Jour, this fragrance is not only is it not gonna be for everybody, but also it's not gonna be a fragrance that's gonna be for everyday use, okay? This one is more so on the lines having like, it's got iris, rose, oud, leather, sandalwood, it's powdery. This leans unisex, but then again, every fragrance is unisex, but this is unisex leaning. And it's just, it screams luxury. If you go to a formal special occasion, you want to wear a fragrance that screams luxury, even if you're not living a luxurious lifestyle, because that's what those fragrances convey in that type of scenario. So this is another fragrance right here, a fragrance type that I do think a guy should have, whether young or old, and that is a formal or special occasion fragrance. And the last fragrance type I want to talk to you guys about, I was hesitant to put this type on here, but then I thought about it. I'm like, no, you know what? No matter what, this type of fragrance right here needs to be in a guy or woman collection. This is the office or work fragrance. Now, hear me out here. Say there's a guy that's a construction worker. He's never going to have a need to even wear fragrance to begin with, unless he wants to. But typically when I say office or work type of fragrance, I'm saying more so literally in an office, a more professional type of environment. Not to say the construction, you know, is not professional, or, you know, we appreciate all jobs, but you typically think maybe more so business casual, business formal dress, like you're in an office or something like that, your administrative assistant, something like that. You want to smell professional. And even if you don't work in a type of environment, say you always want to have this fragrance on hand, because say you interview for a new job, right? You're going to be in an interview process. You know, you can wear a fragrance there. You want to come in smelling really professional, leave a nice, great impression on, you know, the company, the interviewer, the employer. Once again, to reference back to other fragrances, you sure as heck don't want to wear a night out fragrance to a professional environment, or, you know, like whether this be as your actual job, office, or interview. At least in my opinion, I wouldn't, because this fragrance right here, once again, suits more casual. It doesn't fit, and it's very projecting, and it's very loud. Loud fragrances used in the right way is magical. Loud fragrances used in the wrong way is obnoxious and annoying. And this type of fragrance in an office or work type environment is annoying. It doesn't fit. So a few fragrances I can show you that fit well for the office or work type environment. We got Hermes, Terre d'Hermes. I got the Eau de Toilette here. This fragrance right here is so professional, so masculine, so gentleman-like. This right here could double down as your office or work type fragrance and your formal fragrance, because this right here suits really well dressed up. This is a citrus woody fragrance. It's got like a freshness from orange, but also it's got an earthy woodiness that's masculine from vetiver in here. This one right here on the niche side, this is Zahara's signature Pour Homme. This fragrance right here is a more kind of like modern take of the aromatic fougere, woody aromatic fragrance. This fragrance right here is super solid. I do think that it suits more for a more mature guy. I'm not gonna say it's gotta be older guy, but more mature guy. Once again, a younger guy that smells this, he might be like, oh no, I can't wear that. That reminds me of my dad, or it smells old. But that's just them being inexperienced with fragrances. These fragrances right here would be excellent for an office or work type of environment. Even though you may not work in an environment that requires you to be in an office or dress super nice, say you're a construction worker or something like that, a warehouse job, you always want to have this fragrance on hand, because once again, you never know when you're going to need this. Whether you go into another job, say you're not at your job now, you go to another job in the future, you gotta go through the interview process. You want to smell professional, like you leave a lasting impression. So you need an office work type fragrance. And these are the 5 fragrance types that I think that every guy should own. Once again, you don't have to own 5 different fragrance types. You could go, like what I said at the beginning of the video, you could go with just one fragrance, like Bleu de Chanel. You could wear this, and you could just wear it for everything. It's just your signature scent, Mr. Versatile fragrance. It takes all the thinking out of it, and you just spray it on and you go. However, the way I describe these 5 fragrance types, I think that this takes the thinking out of it. You won't ever have to wake up and be like, okay, what fragrance matches what? These 5 fragrances right here, it will cover everything in your lifestyle. So that's all I got for you guys today, man. If you enjoyed this video and you're not subscribed to my channel, hit that subscribe button below, because I got a lot of great content planned for you guys. Hit that post notification bell to let you know when I upload a new video. Let me know in the comment section below, what are the fragrance types that you think a guy should own? I showed you my 5. You may only have 3 types, or maybe there's 6 or 7. Like, what are the types that you think that a guy should own? And what are some of your favorite fragrances from your collection, or what you smelled from these types that I mentioned? Let me know in the comment section below, because you know I love to talk to y'all in the comment section. That's all I got for you guys today, man. Hope you have a nice day, nice evening. Till next time.